Good afternoon, dear students. Let me begin our second part of literature review. Let me discuss the content of the critical review. In considering the content of your critical review, you will therefore need to include the key academic theories within your chosen area of research. Then you need to demonstrate that your knowledge of your chosen area is up to date through clear referencing. Enable those reading your project report to find the original publications which you cite. Then you need to ask a question to yourself: is your literature review critical? As Sanders and others suggested that you need to show your literature review relate to your research question. Then you need to assess the strength and weaknesses of your literature. Then you need to include literature review that is different from your own idea but in the same research areas. Then you need to justify your own idea and need to highlight areas where new research is needed. That is your research gap. You need to find out your research gap. Okay. Then the structure of critical review. The precise structure of the critical review is usually your choice, although you should check as it may be specified in the assessment criteria. There are three common structures. Number one is single chapter. Second structure is a series of chapters. Then third is throughout the project report as you tackle various issues. The key to a critical literature review: within your critical review, you will need to juxtapose different authors' ideas and from your own opinions and conclusions based on this. Although you will not be able to start writing until you have undertaken some readings, we recommend that you start drafting your review early. You start drafting your review early, as you can refer to figure 3.1 in your slide. Okay, what you write can then be updated and revised as you read more and more. A common mistake with critical literature reviews highlighted at the beginning of this chapter is that they become uncritical listing of previous research. It's become uncritical listings. Then secondly, often they are little more than annotated bibliographies, as mentioned by Hart in 1998. Then individual items being selected because they fit with what the research is proposing. Although there is no single structure that your critical review should take, our students have found it useful to think of the review as a funnel in which you start at a more general level before narrowing down to your specific research questions and objectives. Second, provide a brief overview of key ideas and themes. Then third, summarize, compare and contrast the research of the key writers. Then narrow down to highlight previous research work most relevant to your own research. Then next, provide a detailed account of the findings of this research and show how they are related. Then next, highlight those aspects where your own research will provide fresh insights. Then lead the reader into subsequent sections of your project report which explore these issues. Then let me share some sources, available sources of literature. We have three sources, literature sources. Number one is primary literature sources, are the first occurrence of a piece of work. They include published sources such as reports and some central and local government publications such as white papers and planning documents. They also include unpublished manuscript sources such as letters, memos, and committee minutes that may be analyzed as data in their own right. It is because primary literature sources can be difficult to trust that they are sometimes referred to as grey literature. Secondary literature sources such as books, journals are the subsequent publication of primary literature. These publications are aimed at a wider audience. They are easier to locate than primary literature as they are better observed by the tertiary literature. Then the third source is tertiary literature sources, is also called search tools, are designed either to help to locate primary and secondary literature or to introduce a topic. They therefore include indexes and abstracts as well as encyclopedias and bibliographies. The literature search strategies. Before commencing your literature search, we suggest that you undertake further planning by writing your own research strategy and, if possible, discussing it with your project instructor. This includes the parameters of your research. You need to list down what are the parameters of your research. Then you need to know the keywords and search terms you intend to use. Then the database and search engine you intend to use. Then you need to know the criteria you intend to use to select the relevant and useful studies from all the items you find. Then you need to define the parameters of your research, of your search. Then for most research question objectives, you will have a good idea of which subject matter is going to be relevant. Then you will, however, be less clear about the parameters within which you need to reach, within you need to search. In particular, you need to be clear about the following, such as language of publications, English. Then subject area, let's say you are from economics. Then business sector, you are doing research about manufacturing sector. Then geographical area, maybe you are doing research about Asia. Then publication period, of course you are looking for recent literature last 10 years. Then literature type, of course, most preferred referred journals and books. Then keywords, you need to identify keywords of your research, which can include authors' surnames identified in the examination of your lecture notes and course textbooks, can be identified using one or a number of different techniques in combination. Those found most useful by our students include discussion, then initial readings, dictionaries, handbooks, thesaurus, brainstorming. Brainstorming has already been outlined as a technique for helping you to develop your research questions. However, it is also helpful for generating keywords. Then you can develop relevance trees. Relevant trees provides a useful method of bringing some form of structure to your literature search and of guiding your search process. They enable you to decide either with help or on your own. And also relevant trees, which keywords are directly relevant to your research question and objectives, then helps you to identify the areas you will search first and which you search will use later. Then which areas are more important, these tend to have more branches. Then in order to conduct a relevance tree, first you need to start with your research questions and objectives at the top level. Then second, you need to identify two or more subject areas that you think are important. Then further subdivide each major subject area into sub areas that you think are of relevance. Then further divide the subject areas into more precise sub areas that you think are of relevance. Then you need to identify those areas that you need to search immediately and those that you particularly need to focus on. Your project tutor will be of particular help here. And are you reading a reviewing progress and add new areas of your relevant trees? Okay. So this is our second part of doing literature review. Thank you very much. The third part will discuss how to conduct a literature search. Thank you very much.